You know that feeling, right? The weather just isn't cooperating, especially when you're relying on something like solar power. It's pretty frustrating when the clouds roll in, or worse, the rain starts pouring and your clean energy source just goes quiet. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into this really incredible innovation that turns that exact challenge into, well, a massive opportunity. And we're focusing on a place very familiar with unique weather, Charleston, South Carolina.
Exactly. Charleston. It's got all that historical charm, but it also faces some pretty unique energy challenges. Frequent rainstorms, hurricane susceptibility. It's tough. So we're exploring how these rain-powered solar panels might actually be poised to transform their renewable energy landscape. Our mission really in this deep dive is to unpack the science behind it, how it applies locally there, and the exciting future possibilities.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack this. Because Charleston, it's often sunny, right? Which you'd think is great for traditional solar. But like you said, it also gets a lot of rain, 48 inches annually? And those frequent summer thunderstorms, that sounds like a huge problem for standard solar panels. Their efficiency must just plummet during heavy rain.
Oh, absolutely. It plummets. And that intermittency, it really complicates grid stability,
Yeah.
often forces them back onto less clean backups just when the weather's bad. So the big question is, how do these new rain-powered panels possibly get around such a fundamental challenge?
Right. How?
Well, what's truly fascinating here is how this new tech tackles that head-on. It integrates two key innovations. First, triboelectric nanogenerators, let's call them TENS, and second, graphene coatings.
Okay, TENS and graphene. Tell me about the TENS first.
Sure. So think of TENS as these transparent layers placed right on top of the solar panels. They basically convert the kinetic energy, the impact energy of raindrops, into electricity. It works through something called liquid-solid contact electrification. It's almost like creating tiny static charges with every single droplet.
Huh. Tiny static charges from rain.
Yeah, exactly. Now, each raindrop only generates picowatts, truly a whisper of electricity. But the key is the cumulative effect. Millions of drops hitting the panel, especially during Charleston's frequent downpours, they collectively produce usable energy.
Wow. Okay, so it's not about one powerful drop, is the power of constant collective impact.
Love you.
Yeah, that's quite a shift. And the graphene, how does that fit into this dual energy thing?
Right, graphene, it's amazing stuff, just a single atom-thick layer of carbon. And it allows for what we call dual energy harvesting. So as raindrops hit the graphene, the friction actually stirs up the carbon's incredibly mobile electrons. That induces a voltage difference, basically, creating a tiny electric ripple that generates current.
So it's a totally different process than the normal photovoltaic effect.
Completely distinct, yeah.
Yeah.
Photovoltaics convert light directly. This uses the motion and contact of the water on the graphene. So this unique interaction lets the panels generate power from sunlight and from rain. Dual purpose.
Okay, so we've got these tiny Teng energy converters and this amazing graphene material. How did researchers actually, bring these cutting-edge ideas together, especially in a place like Charleston?
Well, that's precisely what Tsinghua University researchers demonstrated quite recently. In 2024, right there in Charleston, they integrated a Teng solar array. And get this, they achieved an astounding 385% overall efficiency, partly by even repurposing condensation heat from the rainfall.
385%. How is that
Oh,
even?
it sounds wild, I know. It relates to how they calculate efficiency across different energy inputs, but the point is it was highly effective. And what really stands out is that this hybrid system standard solar paired with these droplet-based TENS was actually used.
Yeah.
It powered wireless EV chargers and emergency communication networks during the outages caused by Hurricane Ian.
Wow. So actual real-world impact during a hurricane. That's not just theory.
Exactly. Real-world resilience in action. That's the key takeaway.
That is truly groundbreaking. But, okay, let's talk brass tacks. What does this mean financially? Is this tech super expensive for cities like Charleston?
That's a fair question. From an economic standpoint, yes, these advanced panels do represent a slightly higher initial investment than traditional solar. We're talking maybe an extra $50 to $1 per watt. But
There are ways to offset that.
right, significant state rebates and federal tax credits can bring down a substantial chunk of that premium. And the real selling point, especially in hurricane-prone areas like Charleston, is that unparalleled energy resilience. Plus, reduced grid dependence during rainy months. That alone often outweighs the slightly longer payback period.
Huh.
We're seeing these hybrid systems potentially reducing grid reliance by maybe 25 to 40% during those wet periods.
25 to 40% reduction just from harnessing the rain.
Precisely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, what's truly fascinating here is how this technology, by integrating TENS and graphene coatings, transforms frequent rainfall. It turns it from a limitation into a consistent, uh, actually powerful energy source. It fundamentally redefines what intermittency means for renewables. It provides crucial year-round energy resilience, especially vital during storms and outages. This really allows cities to truly rely on their renewable energy systems, rain or shine.
Yeah, and for a city like Charleston, you mentioned 48 inches of rain, over 130 rainy days a year. This isn't just about being green, it's about having uninterrupted power when it matters most. You mentioned backup power, too.
With battery storage, yes, potentially up to 72 hours of backup,
Mhm.
critical during extended outages.
Okay. So, what does this all mean for you listening? It really raises an important question, doesn't it? If Charleston can take its unique climate challenges, its rain, its storms, and use them to pioneer these resilient energy solutions, well, what could this mean for other coastal cities? All around the world grappling with similar, maybe even intensifying rainfall patterns and the impacts of climate change. It really makes you think, about a future where every single raindrop actually contributes to our power.